Access Credit Union has always been at the heart of our community through good and bad times. We want to continue to play our part in helping our community through the COVID-19 crisis. As businesses reopen, we encourage our community to work together by staying local, borrowing locally, and spending locally. Access Credit Union is here to help.
Close your eyes and pull like a dog.
And a new Irish record for Phil Healy, 22.99.
Christy Cooney hands over the Sam Maguire Cup to Graham Canty, Cork All-Ireland champions for the 7th time ever.
Hello and welcome to the Star Sport podcast. My name is Jack McCarran of the Southern Star, and I'm joined as always by Star Sport editor Kieran McCarthy. Busy show for you this week as always, and we're going to be kicking things off in a few minutes with an in-depth chat with Glengarriff athlete Darragh McElhinney. Darragh won gold in the 5,000 metres at the recent Irish Life Health National Senior Track and Field Championships at Morton Stadium, becoming a senior national champion for the very first time. He caught up with Kieran to chat about his win and much more besides, and it's well worth tuning in for. Later we'll be joined by Clonakilty's Clare O'Leary ahead of their clash with Glanmire in the intermediate county final this Saturday at Kilmichael. Clon overcame West Cork rivals Rosscarbery at the semi-final stage, so we'll chat to Clare about that excellent win as well as Saturday evening's final. To finish up, we'll be joined by three members of the victorious Dunmanway team that overcame Clonakilty to win the Beamish Cup at Turner's Cross on Sunday. Captain Stephen O'Donovan, midfielder Mark Buckley and Cathal Daly, who scored both goals in Sunday's final, spoke to Kieran a little earlier to reflect on yet another famous day for the Mahona club. But Kieran, before we jump into all of that, what were your own 5 biggest takeaways from the weekend that was?
Dunmanway Town won the Beamish Cup at Turner's Cross last Sunday, a 2-0 win over Clonakilty Town. Cathal Daly got both goals for Dunmanway, and it was a perfect send-off for Dunmanway captain Stephen O'Donovan, who looks like he's played his last game for the club, and he's been a stalwart of Dunmanway over the years. I'm going to move on now to the West Cork senior ladies football team, who've booked their place in the county senior football final for the 3rd successive year. West Cork had a huge win over Ahada in Saturday's semi-final. West Cork put up 9-15, with Cousy Rovers rising star Fiona Keating scoring 5 goals. So that sets up a West Cork Morton final for the 3rd year in a row. Phil Healy was back in the top of the podium again last weekend. She completed a terrific sprint double at the Irish National Championships. She won the 200 metre final to add to the 100 metre title she'd won the previous weekend. And it means that Phil now has won 12 national senior titles, which is a phenomenal record. Lazarus has nothing on the comeback that the Inniskeen Camogie team produced last Sunday in the county quarter-final at Castle Road. At one stage in the first half, Inniskeen were trailing Blackrock by 13 points. They looked dead and buried, but Inniskeen rose from the depths of hell and they recorded a superb 118-213 win to book their place in the county intermediate semi-final. And no surprise to see Orla Cronin led the fight back, and the Cork Star chipped in with 10 points. We're going to round off with county championship hurling now, and it was a mixed bag for West Cork teams in the county hurling championships. Bandon and Newcestown are through to the quarterfinals of the Cork Senior A hurling championship. Kilbrittain are into the quarterfinals of the Cork Lower Intermediate hurling championships, but Barry Rowe and Aberdeen Rangers must pick themselves up for relegation battles in the coming weeks.
Okay, Kieran, well, let's move on and turn our attentions to Glengarriff's Darragh McElhinney. Over the past few months, I'm sure many of our listeners will have been bitten by the running bug, and you didn't have to look too hard on social media during lockdown to see people posting their questionable 5k times. If I could get my pages out in front of me. Darragh is now officially Ireland's 5k king, having claimed gold at the national championships in an eye-watering time of 13 minutes and 56 seconds. So it's always great to have Darragh on the podcast. But 2 questions for you first, Kieran. How was he keeping when you spoke to him? But firstly, what's your own best 5k time while we're on that subject?
I don't think numbers go that high, Jack, to be quite honest. I think we talked about this before, and I used to do, there was a 5K up in Ballincollig, and it's probably still going there. It was like a park run. It used to be on Sunday mornings, and we actually used to travel up from Kerry just up to Ballincollig to take part in it, because it's a lovely circuit and takes you through the park. And I think it was 22 minutes. I presume there's a record somewhere online, or someone will probably kind of find it now, and it'll be like 28 minutes 45 seconds. But I think it was 22, but I was never made for the short sprints or the long distance. I'm kind of
21 or 22 though. That's pretty solid. Like that, you'd be quite happy. Breaking 25 is difficult enough. Obviously, breaking 20 is the thing everyone was chasing during lockdown. But 21, 22, you can be proud of that, Kieran.
Because up in Ballincollig, the kind of circuit, like there's no hills, it was all flat, and it's kind of through the woods and stuff, and it's a super course. It's kind of made for quick times, and that was a good few years ago now. I'd say it'd probably take me 21 minutes to drive 5K at this stage, not to mind run it. So, but Darragh McElhinney, he's in a league of his own, like different class altogether. And when I caught up with him, he was in super form, and just to use the phrase, a pep in his step, because there was. Like to win his first senior national title in his first year as a senior it's a big breakthrough for Darragh, and he's obviously delighted with that. And Darragh's PB for the 5,000 metres, I think, is 13:54, and it's also an Irish under 20 record. While John Travers, who we beat, his PB is 13:28. So John Travers is a 26-second better athlete than Darragh over 5,000 metres right now, but Darragh still won the gold. And just always when you're talking to Darragh, it's just such an insightful and honest look, because he's a very revealing character. And you'll hear now soon coming up, but Darragh talks about that last lap in the 5,000 metres, and at one stage there was a voice telling him, go now. And he thinks that if he went when his voice was telling him to go, that he wouldn't have won. But he showed his maturity for a 19-year-old, where he just held off, waited a bit longer, made his move, kicked on and won. So big breakthrough for Darragh. Kind of, it really puts his name back in the limelight, and it kind of, I suppose, announces him again on the senior stage as one to watch. He's a race coming up in Belgium this weekend, and he wants to kick on again, and he wants to try and bring down his 5,000 metre PB, and you wouldn't bet against him. But as you'll hear from him now, he's taken a lot of confidence from his first Irish senior national title. At the first weekend at the Irish Nationals, Darragh McElhinney obviously won the gold medal in the 5,000 metres. From the outside looking in, Darragh, it felt like a breakthrough moment for you. What did it feel like yourself?
Yes, felt similar enough to that, in fairness. Yeah, I think there was certainly an element of kind of breakthrough about it. I suppose going into the race, it was, always in the back of my mind that I could win it, but at the same time I knew it was going to take a pretty big performance to beat John. John Travers, who came second. So yeah, like I was going into it with the hope of winning it, but to have actually done it, it did, as you say, it did feel like a bit of a breakthrough afterwards. And it's funny, I kind of almost see myself as an athlete like in a different light now after it. Just kind of, as you actually said in the paper, a bit more of a pep in my step and stuff, and it's nice to kind of have that going into future races and stuff. Having that kind of behind you can certainly give me a bit more confidence.
I think sometimes we forget you're only 19 years of age, yet you seem to have been around for years. I was even just checking up here, it was 2016 where you won the West Cork Youth Sports Star Award, and you've been at junior level and schools level, you won everything there was to win, and as a junior athlete, you were dominant. You set all these records, the fastest Irish teenager ever, and over 5,000 metres and so on. So when you stepped up to senior, did you feel this expectation on you, Darragh, this pressure, because you were number one as a junior? So that transition did up to senior. Did you feel pressure, or how did you take it in your stride?
No, I wouldn't say I felt too much pressure really. I suppose, like I think there's an element of it for me that I've probably felt like for the last couple of years, had I been in some of the senior races that go on in Ireland, like beat them at national championships, or even just like some of the meets that a lot of the top seniors would go to. Like I suppose, I would see myself up towards the front of those. Like last year, I didn't run in the national seniors because it was like a week after the European juniors or whatever, and my body was pretty tired, so I didn't run it. But like I remember like watching that race and thinking about it afterwards. I was like, yeah, had I been in that, I probably would have been up towards it. So I suppose in a sense I feel like I've been at the level to be competing at senior level for the last couple of years, whereas it's only this year that I've really kind of put myself into position to actually fight for the medals and stuff. But in terms of pressure, I wouldn't really say so. In fairness, I don't really think anybody around me puts too much pressure on me, especially the couple of weeks kind of coming into a race. I tend to race better when I'm kind of a bit more relaxed about them. It doesn't really suit me to maybe like take myself too seriously coming into it. So I think for the couple of weeks into it, I wasn't putting a lot of pressure on myself. I was just saying, it's my first senior race, it's my first race of the season. Like whatever happens. And then I suppose the only really pressure that I would find is more maybe what I put on myself is small, but just on the day of the race and the few hours kind of before it and everything, how to kind of conduct yourself when you get to the track and getting yourself ready and everything. But I suppose like that kind of just comes with the territory. If you're going into a race and like the thing is about athletics, it's pretty easy to see where everybody is because it's such a measurable sport. Like it's not like GA where you go into a team or where you go into a game and anything can kind of happen in terms of some player can have a savage game, somebody else can have an off day. It's pretty. I mean, like unless bar major mishap, if you're faster than 90% of the people in the race, you're going to be up the front, and you kind of just have to realize that as well. So I suppose the only pressure really would have been going into it knowing that I had second fastest time. But in fairness, the last couple of years, I think I've just been able to, I've had really good people around me and instructing me and stuff. So I've been able to kind of train as a junior athlete, but then race as a senior athlete, which has been kind of refreshing because I feel like I'm going into my senior years now ready to push on my training as well. Because it would be pretty easy for, an 18, 19-year-old to start running the same miles a week that a senior athlete does and, getting the similar results. But like that's not too sustainable because, the body will break down and stuff. Whereas I've been training pretty controlled since I was, 15, 16 or whatever. And I've just been getting good results off it. So, obviously it's worked out great now. And, I don't really see the need to change anything. I'll be obviously upping my training a small bit coming into my senior years. But, I'm just going to try and, keep on the same path that I've been on because it's been working out so far. So
tactically, that 5,000 metre final, you got it spot on. And you were telling me last week about how you took your learnings from the 3,000 metre indoor final at the Nationals earlier in the year. Talk me through the 5,000 metre final and especially the last couple of laps, because you waited for your chance to take on John Travers and you kicked to 200 to go and you just made your move and you were gone.
Yeah, like it had the potential to be exactly how the 3,000 metre went out, where I felt like I was sitting on John for large parts of the race, and then essentially in the 3,000 I just got a bit of a rush of blood with 400 metres to go, and I went to the front, and it probably wasn't the right thing to do. So I suppose we sat down and I knew that John won that day, and I knew that John would be in this one as well. So I just said I don't want to make the same mistake again. Because even with 400 meters to go the last day, there was a little bit of a voice in the back of my head saying just go for it. But I knew it wasn't the right thing to do, so I just stayed in for as long as I could really. And then even with 200 meters to go, I was prepared to sit in again until literally the last straight and just try and pip him there. But then I suppose I could kind of just tell from the body language, John, obviously I've been looking at him for so long, and I suppose I could probably just tell that he was probably being to tire a small bit. So I just, with 200 meters to go, I was just one big effort now and I might be able to pull away from him. And then that was how it went. And then I was able to kind of turn around with 25 or 30 meters to go and kind of relax into the finish line. But the biggest thing really about the whole race was just the discipline to stay in, because it's tempting to kind of, because it was getting pretty monotonous, it had been essentially 13 and a half minutes of just staring at his back. And I mean, a large part of me wanted to go to the front, and kind of open up the legs a little bit, but I just knew that the longer I stayed in, the more of a chance I had of having more energy in the last 200. So it was really just a waiting game. And then obviously then when I had the opportunity with 200 to go, it had to be perfect, because I had to put in the initial burst to get the 5 yards, because the lead that I created between 200 meters to go and say 180 meters to go, it didn't really change after that. Like I got my gap and I essentially just held it. Like we were probably running the same pace then for the majority of it. So like it was really just that 20 or 30 meters was the difference. And I kind of knew that it had to be as well. I knew I had to kind of get to the bend with a bit of a lead and then just hold on. But like as great as a race as it was, like, you know, on another day, he could have came by me with 50 meters to go and it would have been poor tactically because I went too early. So, I mean, obviously, you know, there's an element of good fortune with it as well that I just had that much in the tank. But in fairness, I suppose it's testament really to just the work that we've been putting in the last, you know, especially the last few weeks leading into it. I think there was a couple of good kind of specific workouts that we did that just got me ready for whatever race was going to come. You know, had it been slow or fast, I think I was pretty ready to respond to whatever. So yeah, tactic wise, it was really just a waiting game. And then when the opportunity came, I just had to make sure that I did it with conviction.
How much did you have to fight that impulse to go 400 meters to go? Like you said, it was in the back of your head. Or maybe go now. Like how hard did you have to resist that temptation? And again, is that a sign of, I suppose, you're maturing, like you've more experience as a runner now, like you learned from the 3,000 meter indoors earlier in the year and you put those learnings into practice?
Yeah, 100%, because I think like the majority of what it stems from really is that was like I used to just produce the exact same tactic when I was in school, like racing all the school races. I used to do essentially the same thing the whole time. I'd sit in until like either 500 meters to go or a lap to go, and then I'd go to the front and I just essentially like time trial the last lap and run as fast as I could. And it was a grand way to win a race when you're a level above the other athletes. But I mean, John on paper is, you know, 26 seconds faster than me over 5K, so I couldn't really afford to, you know, go to the front and try and burn him off after the last lap because he's so strong, like. And I knew that as well, in fairness. Like obviously I was kind of half telling myself to go, but overall I did know that, like, you know, it's the wrong decision. And I think having the indoor race to learn from did make a big difference because you know, had I not gone through that, I would have backed myself to go early. And then, to be honest, like I think had I gone with 400 meters to go, I don't think I would have won. So yeah, I suppose obviously every cloud has a silver lining, and I think that's definitely true in this case anyway.
Obviously, it's great, Darragh, that you have a national senior gold medal, the first of your career. But more so, how much confidence can you take from this win and the manner of the performance?
Yeah, like I think that's what it's all about, really. Yeah, is the confidence that I've probably gained from it, that I've gained from it already, and you know that I will in the future. Because I mean, the reality is like there's going to be a lot more national finals, and you know it's going to be racing against a lot of the same lads as well. So I suppose, you know, had I been going into say next year, and I've raced John like 3 or 4 times before, and if he'd beat me in all those races, then I'd probably be lining up thinking, here we go again. But to have done that, it does give me a confidence for pushing on, and especially just because he has a personal best of 13:28. So I suppose, you know, 13:28 would be considered, you know, like a really good time for a senior, and obviously I'm a 13:54 guy, so that is a really good time for a junior. But I think the fact that I was able to beat him maybe kind of bridges the gap a small bit for me. You know, I'm going racing in Belgium now next week, and straight away I'm kind of in my head like I want to run around 13:40 if not faster. Whereas, you know, had I been dropped in the last 200 you know, at the national seniors, maybe I'd be thinking, oh, hopefully I'll just run a PB. Whereas I think now, after a performance like that I think I'm ready to kind of take my performance to a new level or whatever, and hopefully be, you know, in that kind of 13:40 bracket after this. And, you know, essentially from there you're getting in towards like, you know, like good like proper good senior times, and start getting into global races and stuff like that. And that's what it's all about, really, especially the next few years. Because you know, like if I'm going to have visions of, you know, making Olympics in 2024 and stuff like that, you need to be competing at the highest level regularly. Like, you know, it can't just be once a year where you're racing lads from like France or Spain, whatever. You need to be on the circuit. And I think get my personal best down towards that time, and especially if I'm going to be, you know, able to race on the circuit when I'm 2021, that should definitely stand to me in the future. Like
we said earlier, kind of as a junior, you're absolutely dominant, the best in the country. So the kind of goal is to try and make your name now. Obviously, at senior level, like winning a senior gold in your first senior national championships is a great way to do that. But like you said there, you need to build on that now. You need to kind of put performance after performance, start tagging them back to back and so on.
100%. Yeah, you need to. Yeah, because I mean, everybody can have a good day out there, but I think it's when when you start putting them back to back is when you really, you really kind of set yourself aside from everybody else, and especially the way that the ranking has gone for Olympics and stuff like that. Now, to be honest, I'm still not even 100% sure on how you do it and stuff like that. But say it comes to 2024, like you're building a big case for yourself if you've won national championships back to back, and you've shown kind of pedigree over time. And I think that's really important, like because you don't want to just run one good race every 2 years, and you want to be consistently racing against the best lads and improving yourself. And I think obviously starting off my senior career on the right note, I'd be hoping to build on top of that, and by the time I'm 26, 27, I'll hope to have a good few more national titles under my belt, please God. And but yeah, as you said earlier, it's definitely given me the confidence to do that and to really attack the next few years. Like,
if you look at the last 12 months, it's been a big 12 months in your life, kind of. Obviously, you're now up in college at UCD, so you've gone from Glengarriff up to Dublin. You've changed coaches again. You've gone from junior to senior. Like, there's a lot going on and off the track. But how pleasing is it for you that you're still moving forward, that you're still going in the right direction?
Yeah, it's great. Like, and I think, because I think especially on the coaching front, because I think obviously coaches are such a big part of an athlete setup. I think especially for listeners or whatever that aren't as familiar with athletics, like they play an absolutely huge role. And I think the fact that, I've kind of just hit the jackpot really, the fact, this is my third coach in whatever, 2 or 3 years. And the fact that, I've responded well to all of them is, I think something I can take confidence from it myself is that, down the line, if there is another move of coach when I'm older or whatever, I'll have the confidence to know that I've gone through a transition before and it's still gone well. Because, like the chances are, like there's transition for everybody, you don't even know where you're going to be living in a couple of years, and, who you're going to know and what are you going to be doing. But I think just going through all that definitely gives me like confidence when I'm older, if it is a case of, basing myself maybe at altitude or something when I'm older, that I know that I can go through one kind of transition, one lifestyle situation to another, and then but also be keeping the level of performance up, which is obviously important.
Between the two nationals, the indoor and the senior, there was a gap there. That's March to August, and you were back home in Glengarriff during the lockdown. How did you keep yourself, I suppose, training, motivated, occupied?
Yeah, like it was. I actually didn't find it too bad at all, really. I suppose like a large part of it is really that like I didn't same as everybody. I didn't really have a whole pile else to do, and like my days had little structure anyway because there was nothing to do in between training times. But any bit of structure I did have really was from my training. Like like I had to be up at a certain hour to get like my morning run done, and then kind of just had to make sure I was keeping my body in nick or whatever to run again in the evening. And then that kind of, and I suppose even you're trying to like convince yourself to go to bed early, it makes it a lot easier if you're training at a certain time in the morning and stuff like that. So I think running actually probably saved me during lockdown in a way, because I don't know what else I would have done alternatively. And then like motivation wise, I think like in fairness, like motivation certainly fluctuated. Like there was some days where and I suppose a lot of it, the motivation fluctuated with the news that we were getting about COVID at the time. Like if it was a day where like deaths were massively up in the country or cases were up, and then everybody's saying, oh, nothing's going to be on this year and you're kind of wasting your time and all this, then like, and there was a lot of that, everybody had their bit to say about whether they thought there was going to be races on or not. And I suppose like, if you got up in the morning and the first thing you seen was, oh, there was X amount of deaths this year, races are looking unlikely, it obviously makes it harder to go out for a run. But I think that's kind of just when discipline and I suppose commitment kind of has to come to the fore as well, because you're not like you no matter how much you love the sport or how driven you are, you're not going to wake up motivated every morning. So I tried to just stay as disciplined as I could. And in fairness, it's obviously it's you work hard as an athlete, but it's not, if you enjoy running, it's not a chore. You're getting out twice a day, and it's certainly the best part of my day during lockdown, because as I said, I had nothing else to be doing. And then obviously, because I had a bit of a blip in the middle with my injury, and I think in a way that nearly helped because I got injured, and then all of a sudden, days where I would have taken for granted being able to just head out on the roads and run pain free, I certainly wasn't taking those for granted anymore. And then I was really looking forward to be able to get back. And then I suppose I've been training for, I think, been training back like 8 weeks or so since I got hurt, and I've certainly noticed just myself that I'm a little bit more grateful to be able to go out and run pain free, and a little bit more diligent with my rehab and prehab and everything. So yeah, I think having fitness is a bit of a gift as well, because the fitter you are, the more enjoyable it is when you're running. So I think I just saw it as structure to my day, and obviously in fairness, I did have a belief the whole time that there was going to be races, which I think helped me as well. A lot of people around me were kind of saying, "Oh, I don't think there will be," and you probably won't be able to race until 2021. But I kind of just had it in the back of my head the whole time that if there was a nationals, I didn't want to be one of the people who hadn't prepared. So I think that belief actually helped me as well.
And from here to the end of the year, you still have a couple of events that you're hoping to get to, like you mentioned there, a race in Belgium, and later in the year or so, the cross countries again.
Yeah, I think Belgium. Yeah, so I'm pretty hopeful about Belgium anyway. I'm due to fly out at Friday. Yeah, I'm due to fly out this day next week. And then I'll probably take a short break after that, because especially if I go out there and I run well, then essentially I've kind of achieved everything that I would have wanted to achieve this year anyways. So yeah, I'll hopefully go out there, run that, and then maybe take a week off, or a week easy anyway, and then start building up again for cross country. But yeah, it's similar really. I'm in a similar position looking ahead to the cross country season as I was back in April and May, that there's going to be lots of people saying that the cross country won't go ahead, and obviously Ireland's due to host the Europeans, and a lot of people will be saying that's not going to go ahead, and I don't really, obviously I don't know, I'm not a coronavirus expert, I don't know are we going to be able to have Europeans then or not, but I suppose all you can do really is just train away as if it is going to go ahead, and obviously if there is any championships for cross country or even just domestic races, I'll hope to be as prepared as possible.
College wise, when you planning to go back up to Dublin?
So I'll be going back. We're back on the 21st of September. So I'll be back up then. And in fairness, I'm actually quite looking forward to going back in a sense. Glengarriff's a great place for distance running, but it's only good for the actual running part, And there's, in fairness, there's a good bit more to the training than meets the eye that way. Just in terms of just gyms and physios and, just facilities that you have in Dublin that you won't have here. So it'll be nice going back to that. But in fairness, I do think being on the hills down here every day over lockdown certainly did help me. I feel stronger for it. So yeah, going back up, I'll try and kind of emulate as much of the training that I did down here up there, and then, have the added bits of, guess the luxuries that I don't have down here. So yeah, I'm looking forward to it.
How did you find swapping Glengarriff for Dublin last year when you started college at UCD? Because it's yin and yang. They couldn't be more different. The quite scenic Glengarriff and the hustle and bustle of a busy city.
Yeah, in fairness, it did take quite a lot of getting used to it. I think, in fairness, essentially, for nearly the whole of the first semester, I kind of just felt like I was kind of on holiday or something. It didn't feel like my real life or anything. Just being up there. That's not to say I didn't enjoy it. It was great crack, and I still actually trained away quite well when I was up there, but the only really experience I would have had of running in the city and stuff was we might have gone up to Cork once a week during school just to meet with some of the lads from Cork and train with them. But doing it every day was certainly different. Just down here, after especially during the winter when I was in school, we'd finish school at 3:45, and I'd have to be out on the pitch at 4:00 if I wanted to get my training done before dark. Whereas you don't have that issue up there because of street lights and everything like that, and indoor treadmills or whatever you want to use really. So I think in fairness it did take a bit of getting used to. So I think that's why I feel I'm going back next year, and the place is going to be a lot more familiar to me, or going back in the next few weeks. And I'm definitely hoping that when I do get back there, it'll be straight down to business training wise. I won't have the whole kind of getting my bearings or anything like that. I'll be straight into it, and hopefully now I can use this what's been a good good summer of racing so far to, push on and hopefully kind of, get to new levels next year.
No, great stuff, Darragh. Thanks for joining us.
Yeah, thanks, Kieran. Thanks very much for that.
Access Credit Union has always been at the heart of our community through good and bad times. We want to continue to play our part in helping our community through the COVID-19 crisis. As businesses reopen, we encourage our community to work together by staying local, borrowing locally, and spending locally. Access Credit Union is here to help.
On Saturday at 5 p.m, the Clonakilty ladies footballers meet Glanmire in the intermediate county final in Kilmichael. They're going into this final off the back of a very impressive win over rivals Rosscarbery. So Kieran, how are they fixed for this one in your own opinion?
Clon will go in as the underdogs. Glanmire beat them in the group stages by I think it was 7 or 8 points, so Clon had that gap to make up. In Clon's defence, that was their first game of the group stage, while I think Glanmire had a match under their belt by then. I don't think many people, to be honest, expected Clon to get to the county final. When they took on Rosscarbery in the semi-final, Ross had been in, I think, 4 of the last 5 or 6 county finals. They'd beaten Clon in last year's semi-final. Rosscarbery were coming off a winning run in their group stage, so all the signs pointed to a Rosscarbery win. But Clonakilty turned that in its head. I think they put up 2-7 in the first half, and they held and sustained that lead in the second half. So huge achievement for Clon to get through to a county final, and they definitely have a chance. There's some very experienced players there, like Captain Clare O'Leary, who we're going to hear from now. Her sister Anya's there. They've Cork goalkeeper Martina O'Brien kind of marshalling the Clonakilty defence. The 6 forwards that start for Clon are 21 or younger, as far as I know, and that goes from the likes of Myra Barrett, Kira Ryan, down to Millie Condon, who was a star in the Cork under-14s last year. So it's a very youthful Clonakilty team. Confidence is high, as you'll hear from Clare now. They're looking forward to it. They're up against it. But saying that, they're up against it against Rosscarbery. Not many people gave them a chance, and they won that. So I definitely would not be ruling out Clonakilty this weekend. And when I caught up with Clare, she was coming off the back of her first day back in school. She's a secondary school teacher, so she's juggling a lot this week, been back in the classroom and looking forward to county final. But as you'll hear from her now, she's in good form. Before we look ahead to the game itself against Glanmire, Clare, I just want to chat about your recent semi-final win against Rosscarbery. I suppose going into that game, Rosscarbery would have been the favourites. They were coming off the back of winning their 3 group games. They've been county intermediate finalists for the last couple of years. They beat you in last year's semi-final, so kind of all the indicators were pointing towards a Rosscarbery win. But you turned everything on its head. Like, that was a terrific performance. You won 2-10 to 2-3. Talk me through that game and how come it all worked out so well for Clon.
I suppose we went into the game as underdogs. All the media was on Ross. They were all doing interviews and for the Southern Star even that week, and it suited us fine, just training away. And I suppose we'd lost by points last year, and we were absolutely devastated afterwards. I'll never forget, I injured my back even, and the next day I was absolutely in a horror. We were just so disappointed. Everything went wrong. Even our free taker Kira, she was so much wide. This time around, she got everything. So we were just so gutted after last year, and it was by a point, but we didn't perform. So we really we trained and prepared well for the semi-final against Ross. We knew they were a very big physical team with lots of experience. We know them so well. We know their players like Laura McMahon, Sarah Hayes, Fiona Callahan. We knew the girls that were going to be big players for them. So I suppose we upped our training, and there was there was more intensity brought and physicality to our trainings to match them, and bringing in the new girls as well. I suppose we lacked forwards that could score. So when we brought in the young under 14s, we knew they could score. So it was just bringing us all together and training and preparing for us. And like we were quietly confident going into the match, and obviously we we'd nothing to lose. There was no limelight on us at all. So we just we just performed, and like every single player on the pitch played absolutely brilliantly, like from Martina to the back forwards. Everyone was just played out of their socks, and it was a really tough game. We even even though I know we won by 7 points, but like we were just even speaking about the match there at the weekend, it felt like we were still down a point with like the last 5 minutes to go, so we just need to match that now again, or to bring that game again against Glanmire at the weekend.
How much confidence can you take from that win against Rosscarbery, and even the performance? Because our reporter Darragh McElhinney was there, and he was really impressed by the Clonakilty performance, but even the overall standard of the game, and especially that first half performance. I think you put 2-7 on the board, and like you said there, you're a team now that carries a scoring threat. So there's a lot of positives to take from that win. So how high is the confidence after beating a good team like Rosscarbery?
We are confident now. We definitely were on high after the match, but we have to get that out of our systems, and we played a challenge match there at the weekend, and we need to bring that again. It's not one not based on the semi-final. Like we have a county final at the weekend, we played well, and we are aware of our strengths and our weaknesses too. So it's it's about going again at the weekend versus Glanmire. But we're well aware that the championship isn't won just because we got over Rosscarbery. We want to win it out. We want to go to beat Glanmire, but we're well aware they again are favourites for the championship. At the start of the season, they are the team to beat. It was between them and Dunmanway, and to win out, and obviously Dunmanway were knocked out, so it's Glanmire going to be the favourites ahead of the weekend. We have a huge challenge to beat them.
Like you said, it's a huge challenge, Clare. And if you go back to the group stages of this championship, and Glanmire actually beat Clonakilty, I think it was 2-9 to 7 points. So we can see why Glanmire will be favourites on this Saturday's final. But looking at that group game, do you think that'll have any bearing on this weekend's final?
Yeah, we're not going to dwell on it much. I suppose it was our first group game, their second. And up to that then, I think we maybe 2 or 3 challenge matches. But, we didn't have a full squad, and we didn't have, everyone in their position. We're not going to dwell on it too much. I suppose they play very similar to us. They're young, they're fast. They get the ball. It's through the hands. It's quick into the forwards, and they have a couple of dangerous forwards, but they do have a similar style of football as us. So I think it's on the day who wants it more. They are favourites, and they I do think we will have to give definitely a big performance to overcome them, really. They are probably on paper maybe the better team, and with the experience, they've won the All-Ireland 2 years ago as well, so they're probably together a lot longer than we are. We've only brought in the younger players with the last 2 years. Or DC was playing with us last year, Maura Barrett as well. It's her second year with us. Millie's first year with us. So we're only coming, we're only together since the start of lockdown. But so we do have to give a massive performance. They have that a couple of years, so they're used to each other. So we have to give an almighty performance to beat them. But we are confident. We had some good challenge games, and even our semi-final win over Ross as well has boosted our confidence.
You kind of mentioned there the likes of Millie Condon and Myra Barrett and Kieran there, I suppose, and the younger side of the age scale. Then there's the experienced players like yourself, and even Cork goalkeeper Martine O'Brien, and thinking of yourself, Clare, like you were involved in the Clon team that won the All-Ireland Junior back in 2009, so you've been there, done that, seen that. Kind of in terms of experience, and you've been captain this week, and like I mentioned there, Martine O'Brien, how important is your role to bring these young players along this week, heading into a big game like a county final?
Yeah, like Martina's been fantastic. It suits us brilliantly that the intercounty season hasn't started yet, because Martina has been, I think, to nearly every training session bar one, and that night Camogie Championship. But yeah, to have her training, and every single training is brilliant. She definitely, while she's a physiotherapist, there is definitely she's got coaching abilities as well. So I say she could be coaching Cork to come. But yeah, she's great to stop playing and give directions. But even during the matches as well, you can even hear she's very vocal. Push, or go, or so. It's brilliant to have that all the time at training sessions. But yeah, definitely. It's been brilliant having her at training sessions, and yeah, I suppose having the experience then of us, the older players, we're just, we're just going to train out for the week and, keep the head down and not get, caught up in all the attention that surrounds a county final. And, it's massive to get to a county final, but at the end of the day, it's really only a match, 60 minutes, and just to to bring it down to that, and if we just focus and then bring our game on Saturday. It's been fantastic having Martina around.
Oh yeah, you said about Martina being vocal. I've been at so many games, and you can hear her even when there's a crowd there. You can hear Martina talking. She's so encouraging and vocal at the back. But I was going to say as well, just for Clonakilty, for the club to be in a county final again, and especially for the younger players, it's a great experience and it's something to look forward to. So how are you going to treat this week? Because we were talking off camera too, and you're a teacher and you're back to school this week, so you're pretty busy as it is. So this week for you, how is it going to unfold? Is it good to be busy the week of a county final?
Yeah, I suppose it is, to have that distraction, all right. But being back at work, you can be more tired. So I early to bed now for the week, and we've Driscoll in as a coach as well, and he's obviously a strength and conditioning coach in his gym. So he's going to direct training around that. It's not as high intensity as what we would have been training before a final. So yeah, our trainings will match, they won't be as intense, let's say, as coming up to just a challenge match. It'll be much, won't be as tough as what we would be dealing at the weekend, which is the county final. But yeah, I suppose it's just minding yourselves, and we have an AML now, the facility, the recovery suite, so we'll probably get there as a group some evening during the week as well, and and then just early to bed, eating well and hydrating. I don't know what the weather is like for the weekend, but hopefully it'll be dry anyway.
These are exciting times for Clonakilty Ladies Football Club. The very best of luck, Clare. All of West Cork is rooting for you and hope that you'll bring home the silverware on Saturday. So the very, very best of luck.
Great stuff there from Clare, and the very best of luck to the Clon Ladies footballers on Saturday. Now, before we review the Beamish Cup final, I just want to pause for a minute to chat about our friends at Access Credit Union.
The Star Sport Podcast is, of course, brought to you by Access Credit Union, your trusted local financial partner. Just recently, I went through the process of opening a current account with Access Credit Union, and I don't think it's an exaggeration to say that it's changed my life. I was able to open the account online during lockdown, which made the process completely hassle-free, and it was made even easier by the great support provided by Access Credit Union team leader Amanda O'Sullivan, who joins me now. Amanda, I understand you can now apply for a credit union loan online as well.
Thanks, Jack. Yeah, you can. If you thought applying for your current account was easy, You'll be delighted when you come to us for your car loan. You can apply online, just as long as you're registered for your online banking. A couple of clicks and it comes to us here in Access Credit Union. The personal touch still isn't lost. We'll still bring you back and discuss the loan with you. And you can upload any supporting documents you needed, your payslips, bank statements, that sort of thing. We attach them here to your loan, assess the loan, and you can draw it down online. So we aim to do that all within 24 to 48 hours, depending on when you submit your documents. And I suppose it was something that was in the pipeline for a while, but with COVID-19, it sped us up to provide the service. And it's really worked out well for us. And you know, for members being able to access their funds and still draw down their loan, it's been a great asset to us really, and to the community. I suppose, typically people always had to come into the credit union to draw down their loan, and you know, for young people who may not be living in the area anymore, we were inaccessible then. So now we're back in the market for these members again, and hopefully they will support us as we are supporting local businesses. And you know, with every €10 spent in the locality, it generates €40 for the local economy. So in turn, the interest that you're paying on your loan in your local credit union goes back into your local economy. So, you know, everyone's helping each other with this.
Great stuff. Thanks very much, Amanda. And don't forget, Access Credit Union is your trusted local financial partner. Access your money 24/7 from anywhere in the world with an Access Credit Union current account and enjoy all the benefits while keeping your money local.
On Sunday in Turner's Cross, West Cork League runners-up Dunmanway Town beat Clonakilty Town FC 2-0 in the Beamish Cup final. A little earlier on, Kieran caught up with captain Stephen O'Donovan, midfielder Mark Buckley and Cathal Daly, who scored both goals in Sunday's final, to reflect on yet another famous day for the Mahona club.
I'm going to go first to Stephen, the captain of the Dunmanway team that won the Beamish Cup with Turner's Cross. What was it like to captain Dunmanway Town to the Beamish Cup at a League of Ireland stadium at Turner's Cross?
Look, it was a very special time. You know, it was with everything that's going on, and to get to play a Beamish Cup final in Turner's Cross, you know, it's something that, you know, it's only been done every now and then, but to do it yesterday was absolutely magical. And it was, you know, a great day for everyone involved and anyone that was there or anyone who was watching. But for the club and the lads that were there yesterday, it was very, very good.
The rumour mill is an overdrive, Stephen. What I'm hearing is it could be your last game for Dunmanway Town. Can you settle those rumours? Is it your last game? What's happening? Are you going to be back again, or?
Yeah, look, the rumour's probably true. I'd say that is probably my last game for Dunmanway Town. Probably moving away actually tomorrow. So yeah, it's probably my last game with a Dunmanway Town shirt on. But look, there's no better way to go out for the Beamish Cup medal and captain a great, you know, team of men that, you know, I admire and a great time for. And look, it's up to them from now on. I play for the Dunmanway Town now with the last probably 16 years. But look, it's great to go to the top.
And where does this rank for you? Like you sit there 16 years, Stephen. Like you've won a lot with Dunmanway Town. Even go back to last season, Premier Division champions. But to captain your home club, like I said, it Turner's Cross, the Beamish Cup in your last game. Like that's almost right over stuff with dreams in terms of signing off like that.
Yeah, like it's don't get me wrong, it's brilliant. Like it's fairy tale stuff really. But look, as I said, it's one of them days that you dream about, to play in a place like Turner's Cross. You know, them things don't really happen. But you know, I was lucky enough to play with a lot of lads that I admire. They're a great bunch of lads, and to lift the Beamish Cup in honour of them, and it's massive. So you know, it's a great way to go to the top.
I can see Mark Buckley starting to well up here because he's getting a bit small bit emotional is probably the word I'm looking for. Mark, as a captain, what was Stephen like to play with and play under?
I suppose it was 50-50, Kieran, really, you know, like negative and positive. But sure, look, he's a stalwart with the club, like, you know, and it was kind of, we had a conversation about 18 months ago he was organising the strip parade with his +1, and he said, Bucks, he said, the one thing that I want more is just another Beamish Cup medal, like, after we won the Premier League last year. So I suppose it was kind of always in the back of our minds. It was a big motive for us at the start of the year. Look, we obviously wanted to win the both cups, the Premier Division and the Beamish Cup, but it's great. It was great for him that he was, it's such a young team, and to have a stalwart like that with us, it's kind of a heart at the back. Like, he was solid all year. In fairness to him, it was great. He was a bit emotional yesterday after the game, but we won't give up for that at all. But he was it was great to see him lifting the cup, on such a big day, and for his family as well. Like, his family have been big support to the club with years, like his father and his mother and his brother Barry there and stuff. So it was a great day for their family, and it was great to be there to celebrate with him after the game.
And I suppose Stephen owes Cahill a couple of points as well, because it's thanks to Cahill's 2 goals that Stephen is get this sign off with a Beamish Cup winners medal. Cahill, I want to talk about your 2 goals, but more importantly your second goal, because we've seen the video now of the goal, and it was probably the greatest solo effort we've ever seen in Turner's Cross. I think you beat 14 men and you came back around again before you finished it. But talk me through it. What was it like to score a goal like that in Turner's Cross in the Beamish Cup final and seal that trophy for your club?
It wasn't too bad, I suppose. Like, it was a big plus when, like, we were guaranteed the win then, because we were under savage pressure. Like, but it came from a ball from Bucks. Like, I don't want to say it because his head's big enough as it is, but like, it was a great ball from him, to be fair. And like, I went past the first man, probably should have tackled me. Like, I got a bit lucky on the second one, and then we got past him, then onto the finish, and it was hitting hope really. Like, I had the head down, just hit it. Luckily it went in then, and the celebrations could start a couple of minutes later, so it was nice enough. All right, chat.
As good as the second goal was, Cahill, the first goal was the crucial goal, because the game was so tight up till then. It was 0 at half time, and Clonakilty Town were well in it as well. So that goal gave you something to defend, and Clon had to come out and chase you a bit then. So your first goal was probably the more important of the two. Is that fair to say?
It definitely was, like, because we knew Clan were going to come at us with everything they had in the second half. Like, and as 30 seconds, 45 seconds later, something, Johnny Lee, he went down and hit the crossbar. Like, so it would have been a completely different game from then on. But like, we defended well, we attacked when we needed to. We got the goal in at the vital time towards the end, and the rest, yeah, that's basically it. Like, it was our defence were under savage pressure there for some bits of the second half. Like, and then Bucks and Johnny in midfield, like, tracking back and everything. Like, they had to do everything for us, and I was just lucky. I was lucky to get 2 goals, I suppose, but credit goes out to the rest of the boys, really. Like,
you've had a serious goal scoring streak in the Beamish Cup. Have you scored in every round?
Apparently so. Like, I didn't know too much about it until Darragh McElhinney was saying it to me. But look, if it's true, I'll take it. Like, you can't complain about it.
And Stephen, like, we're just talking there about playing in Turner's Cross. Kind of, it's the second time the Beamish Cup final has been held up there. Kind of tell me about the stadium, like even the pitch itself. What's it like to play on a surface like that?
Look, Kieran, it was absolutely beautiful to play there, but with the certain circumstances going on, at the moment, the no spectators and whatever, and like it would have been massive to have people there to watch us and whatever.
Mark, kind of, Cotton was giving you kind of, I suppose, an endorsement there about your midfield pairing with Johnny Kelly. You've been central to this success, kind of like. Would you take a lot of the credit for Cotton's goals?
It's actually amazing. We were inside and we were celebrating a win as we were last night, and he was getting fierce praise for the second goal, and he actually never mentioned the pass. So I'm actually a bit shocked that he's after mentioning it there now. So thanks for that, Colin, to be fair. But no one fairness, we were under the cosh, and a ball broke to be there in the middle, and he made a great run. Like, so I'm just going to put it in behind the defence, and it was kind of Clon's defence were very solid all game. Like, it was kind of. They're going to have to be done at the right time, and in fairness, Kyle, he just kept himself on side, and look, he still had a lot of work to do for the goal. Like, so credits due where credits due. Like, but yeah, I suppose Clon had most of the ball, really, Kieran, to be honest. And they've great players in the middle there, Jack O'Mahony there, and Chris Collins and Ruben Henry. Like, they're great players. Like, and Alan Murphy as well. Like, so we were under savage pressure. Like, and I suppose myself and Johnny didn't have the best games we've played all season, but we I suppose we had to do a lot of defensive work, and in fairness, we kind of worked well together, in fairness. And it was just kind of an overall effort as well, Kieran. Like, you know, it's great to have the two boys up front in just to take the pressure off us in, like, you know. So in fairness, they've been firing away the goals. So they've been doing the business for us up there. In fairness.
You mentioned earlier, Mark, that obviously Dunmanway Town wanted a league and cup double this year. Didn't work out with the league. You relinquished the title to Drina Rangers on the last day of the season. After that happened, did you almost double up your efforts then and focus on the Beamish Cup because you wanted to kind of get your hands on silverware this season?
Yeah, sure. Look, I suppose it was a very proud moment for us last year winning the league, like, you know, and I felt that we thoroughly deserved the league last year. I know we kind of went to the playoff and stuff, but we kind of done it the hard way, and we kind of proved to people that we were the best team in West Cork last year. And I think, you know, Kieran, like with a full strength team this year as well, we probably are the best team in West Cork, and it was great for us. Like, we were hurt a lot after what happened in the league title. I suppose a lot of us were caught up with GA commitments and stuff like that, and it's been a hectic summer for us. So it's nice to get a bit of silverware, and so we fully believe in ourselves that we probably are the best team in West Cork, you know. And I'm just happy that we got to show that on Sunday. So with everything going on, it's lovely to finish the year with a bit of silverware, and we have another cup final again in 2 weeks against Clon again. So it'll be nice to get the double over them hopefully. But yeah, look, it's a lot of the lads there. It's our first Beamish Cup, like, and I suppose we just have to drive on now with a young team, like, so hopefully we get a few more down there as well. Get the Premier League back off Drina again next year, hopefully.
And Cahill, like Mark mentioned there, like Clonakilty Town are a serious outfit. Obviously, Drina Rangers won the Premier Division this year. You've Belly the Hob, you've Toger, you've Lyre. There's Spartak Musgrove are coming up, Mizzen are there. Riverside are coming back up to the Premier next year. Like the West Cork League, the Premier Division, it's very, very competitive right now, isn't it?
Oh, it's very tough, alright, like, because whoever you go to, like, you're never going to get an easy game. Like, people go, but they're bottom of the league. Doesn't matter. Like, you go to any team in the West Cork League, you're going to get a game. It's going to be tough. It's going to be physical. Like, so, and you could see how tight it was this year for a lot of the year until COVID kicked in. Like, it's only a couple of points in it between first and fourth, I think. Like, so they're very strong teams in the West Cork League, and we saw Clon there, like, yesterday. They were fantastic. Like, they're very tough. They gave us nothing easy. Like, we had to work for every ball we got. Like, but yeah, it's nothing easy in the West Cork League.
Stephen, you mentioned as well, obviously, you're finishing up now after 16, 17 years with Dunmanway Town, and you're almost handing over the reins to the younger lads like Mark and Cahill here. How confident are you that these fellas will kind of continue on that proud tradition that Dunmanway Town have and keep you right up the top of the West Cork League?
Look, Kieran, I'd be very, very confident. There's plenty of them. Like, we were only looking at it yesterday. I think I was with Eddie Allis, and there was a couple of more down before me, and then the drop was about, I think it was 8 or 9 years down to the next person. Like, there's plenty of good young lads that can step up to the mark, and like, when you look at it, you have likes of Mark and Cahill there, and Reece Coakley, Colin Barry, Ray Jennings, Aaron Donovan, lads that are stepping up to the mark when we really needed them yesterday, and they really stepped up. So, you know, I have no problems thinking that Dunmanway Town will always be a force in West Cork soccer.
When you're looking back over the last 16, 17 years, what have the big highlights been for you, Stephen?
I suppose I've a couple of highlights, but I suppose as a captain last year, you know, I think it was probably the first year the Premier League went to a playoff. So, you know, to win that last year was massive. It was definitely a highlight. And, you know, back in 2003 and 2004, I was only a sub in 2003. I played the final in 2004. You know, they were big moments. But I suppose this year, to lift the cup as a captain in Turner's Cross, League of Ireland Stadium, whether fans or no fans, it was something very, very special.
And Mark, the game was live streamed too, and I think there was quite a big viewership. The figures were coming in today. I think there was 3,000 or so had watched, tuned in at different parts of the final. When you talk about the West Cork League, it's a very competitive league, and it would be great to see more fans there, wouldn't it? More fans to come to games, because the standard is very high.
Yeah, sure. So, I suppose, Kieran, like, it was great. I suppose Barry Donovan wouldn't be too happy, but his chance there towards the end will be evidence there forever. So he won't be. It was great. You know, it was like, my family there at home, like, they were able to sit down and plug the laptop into the television and watch it there, like, you know. So it was great. Like, and I suppose in one way it was kind of strange not seeing any fans at the game, but like to see the figures of nearly 3,200 people watching the game are encouraging. Like, and like I suppose on a Sunday morning, like especially with the weather's kind of good, like you kind of see the crowds come out like before go over there and stuff, But I think that the standard in soccer in West Cork is definitely improving. Like, and it's definitely very high standard. Like you see, Kyle said it there a while ago. Like just 3 or 4 teams are fighting for first place in the league. Like, and like we played Spartak there a few weeks ago, and like they won first division, and we got nothing easy off. And like they were very good. Like, and like they were well able to throw the ball around the place. So I think that like it's the rest of the lads, put it on Twitter and stuff. It's great to see that. Like, and it's great for us as well to have a bit of a backing as well. Like, because it's great to have such kind of a following, and it proves the whole thing for everyone. Like, and that's what everyone wants to see in West Cork, because as Stephen said there, he's been playing the Beamish Cup since 2003. Like, and it was a great honour for us to win that yesterday, and it meant a lot to a lot of fellas, So it was a great lift for the town as well. So it's great to see a backing behind West Cork soccer, because I think that there's a great history there, and there's a lot of tradition, and there's a lot of fellas still talking about the Beamish Cup Day 20 years ago, So hopefully it'll improve, and hopefully we can keep kind of live streaming it. But my father, he still goes on about it, right? But it was great. Like even my grandmother watched the game yesterday as well, So it was great.
Cathal, you have the Maybury Parkway Cup final again, Clonakilty Town, coming up in the next couple of weeks. I presume you want to finish off on a high, kind of to get another piece of silverware and round off the season with 2 cups to your name.
Of course, like any cup we're in, like the lad, everyone on our team will say it. Like, we want to win every game, every trophy that's out there. Like Buck said a while ago, just want to go win the double over them. Like, and it'll stand us in good stead for next season going in again. Like we know now how to win. Like, we just got to keep that going and winning another cup going into next season with the double. Hopefully, we can go for the league title in again next year.
Stephen, I'm going to leave the last word to you. Kind of, you touched on it earlier. You feel that Dunmanway Town is in very safe hands. You'll be watching from afar for the cup final coming up in the next 12 months. Your feeling on Dunmanway Town over the next 12, 18, 24 months? You think they'll stay on top?
Oh, look, Kieran, Dunmanway Town is in a very good place. There's some absolutely fantastic soccer players there. As I said, the young lads coming through, they're going to have no problem. Absolutely no problem. And like they have, we say, like a bit of experience. Like Carl there now has played. That's, I think, Carl's second year there. Mark there is after playing a couple of years. So like they can use the experience, and like there's plenty of lads coming in underneath them. So they can help them along. Dunmanway Town soccer is going to be there for an awful long time. And I'm sure the lads will bring back plenty more Beamish Cups and plenty more Premier Leagues.
I suppose our listeners will actually want to know, where's the cup going to stay for the next 12 months? Because if Stephen's heading off, I presume it's not going to London. So who's going to get ownership?
It's actually in the suitcase.
It's in the suitcase already, is it? Packed away.
Well, John Buckley forgot to bring it to Turner's Cross and had to get his daughter to bring it up. So he'll have to come to London for next year.
So what we know, so John Buckley won't have the cup, so the cup could be in London, or it could appear anywhere in Dunmanway over the next 12 months.
Well, Kieran, really, if there's any man going to have it, Mark Buckley's going to have it. Call a spade a spade.
He's going to sleep with it.
I'm expecting someone to see.
I'll be teasing the father. I'll have it up in the room there, and I'll be bring it down to there for dinner and stuff. But I want him to touch it or anything. So.
Oh, not great stuff. Come here, lads. Thanks so much for joining us on the podcast this week. Congrats on a Super Beamish Cup win, and best of luck in the other cup final coming up in the next couple of weeks.
No problem, lads. Best of luck. I won't see you after tonight, but best of luck.
Access Credit Union has always been at the heart of our community through good and bad times. We want to continue to play our part in helping our community through the COVID-19 crisis. As businesses reopen, we encourage our community to work together by staying local, borrowing locally, and spending locally. Access Credit Union is here to help.
Welcome back to the Star Sport podcast, and before we wrap up yet another busy edition of the show, Kieran is going to give us a quick rundown of what to expect in this week's Southern Star sports section. So Kieran, take it away. What you have for us?
There's plenty going on, Jack. As you can guess, I suppose it's really kind of hot and heavy in the various GA championships at the moment. So as well as reflecting on all the action from last weekend, and there was a lot, we're looking forward to a very, very busy football weekend coming up. I caught up with Skibbereen's Daniel Hazel to chat about O'Donovan Rossa, who take on St. Michael's in the senior A football championship this weekend. We've interviews with Castlehaven and Newcestown, and also Dennis Hurley explains, I suppose, all the different permutations for the West Cork clubs heading into the final weekend of action in the county championships. Looking ahead to Clonakilty's county intermediate ladies football final against Glanmire. Darragh McElhinney is a very good interview with Kieran Ryan. Also, we've match reports from the West Cork ladies semi-final win in the Skeens, dramatic win which we spoke about earlier, all the county championship games involving West Cork teams, and also, Jack, coming up this weekend, it's a very busy weekend in the Carbery Junior A football championship. There are 6 round 3 games down for decision, and there's some huge matches in there. You've defending champion St. James's up against Argyle Rangers, which is a repeat of last year's semi-final, and possibly the tie of the weekend is on Sunday when Kilmichael take on St. Mary's. And obviously Kilmichael, if we can recall, put up a huge score against Bandon in the first round. I think it was 6-23 with Damien Gore scoring 3-5. So there'll be a lot of eyes on the Carbery Junior A football championship this weekend. Goes without saying that we've great coverage of the Beamish Cup final with schoolboy soccer in there. All the athletics from Phil Healy's 12th national gold. And what we've done is we've actually listed off, we've gone through Phil's 12 gold medals at senior level. So starting from 2014 up to 2020, from indoors to outdoors, we're looking at each of her national gold medals. And I checked in with Phil this week to see where she ranks in the all-time list of nationals, Jack. And there's some fella with 57 national records. So she said she's some bit off the top of the leaderboard. But interestingly, she's only 2 off Sonia O'Sullivan, who won 14 senior national titles. And my money is on Phil Healy to beat that record in the next couple of years. So as you can see from this, it's action-packed Southern Star sports section that will be on shop shelves on Thursday morning or available online.
Yeah, so as Kieran mentioned, it's available to read online. All you have to do is go to www.southernstar.ie/e-paper and you can read the Southern Star on your computer, tablet or smartphone for less than €2 per week. Thanks for listening to the Star Sport Podcast. We'll be back at the same time next week. If you enjoy these shows, please make sure to rate, review and subscribe on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, YouTube or wherever you get your podcasts. Slán go fóill.